Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk and Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours, making a video for you on the 20th of December 2016. It's a day before Winter Solstice. It's the shortest day here in the UK tomorrow in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is cold, it is dark, it is gloomy out there. It went dark about 3:30 this afternoon, and I must admit, as a colour therapist, I really struggle with this type of day and this amount of lack of sunshine. So what can we do to just try and brighten it up a little bit? I thought we'd talk to Archangel Metatron, who is the perfect antidote to that, and who also understands the whole cycle of dark and light as well. Also, yesterday in our world we had, there are awful things happening all the time, and I try to keep my Facebook page, Angelic Celestial Colours, and these videos as upbeat as I can. I believe that's my job, to try to bring a bit of light in. But it is also about trying to see the higher perspective on what is going on. And I think when we are faced with difficult days, as we are at the moment, there's some difficult things going on in the world, we have to face them and we have to address those as well. Otherwise we can become a bit blinkered, and it can just be about saying love and light for the sake of it. And the Metatron energy is always about the truth, it's about reality, it's about helping us with the everyday. So we are firstly just going to acknowledge the amount of darkness that is out there at the moment, and we're going to counteract it with some light. The analogy that I got today, sort of tuning in, was that Metatron is talking about how sometimes in I don't want to use the word war, because war has negative connotations, but it's the only word I can think of to try to describe what I'm trying to describe, which is that in this war, effectively, between dark and light, good and bad, all the rest of it, there are many battles, and of course we all know light triumphs in the end, but there are also battles within a war which sometimes you can lose. And it feels as though the last half of 2016, it's as though it's not that darkness has got the upper hand, but it's as though it certainly has been very visible. It's been very visible. The energy has been palpable. And we need to counteract that. We need to spend, I feel, the Christmas period and the New Year period really just sort of going within and trying to recharge our batteries as much as we can. Metatron is talking about the fact that we all need to be as spiritually, as physically and as emotionally fit as we possibly can be. That does not mean that we have to be perfect, because none of us are. It just means that we do our best to try to be the best version of ourselves that we can. And just to make that feel a little bit more human and easy to achieve, if I just give you an example, those of you that have been watching my videos know that I'm doing this series of 12 videos linking into 12 ascended masters and archangels. And I think I've mentioned that I'm going to be doing a Serapis Bey one. Serapis Bey is not an ascended master that I've worked with much before, and I've still got his video to do, but his energy is very much here. And one of the things I know that he helps with is willpower, determination, and perseverance, particularly if you're trying to break through a negative habit or pattern. And for various reasons, I haven't been going to the gym, I haven't been exercising as I used to, and really just because I've been too busy. But that's an excuse, to be perfectly honest with you, because you have to make the time. So he's been on at me just to get myself back down to the gym, and I did so today, first time in quite a few months actually. Can't say I particularly enjoyed it, but you know, at least I've started, and I know myself well enough that once I start something I tend to see it through, and also I will enjoy it the more that I keep going. The point of the story is not like a well done for me for having staggered to the gym. It's more the fact that I went to the gym, I did what was asked of me, but then I came back and I was ravenously hungry and I raided the biscuit tin. So I probably have actually eaten more calories than since then than I actually burnt off in the gym. The thing is, it doesn't matter, at least I tried, okay? That's the analogy of the story. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're trying to build, whatever it is that you're trying to create, it's just about starting off sometimes. None of us are perfect. All we are asked to do is to try. And when spirit can see that we are trying, that is when they come in and they do support us, okay? It's when we just sort of, to use my analogy, if I'd have just thought, oh, no, I'm not doing that, I'm going to sit in the chair and watch TV or whatever, I wouldn't have done that. I'm just trying to exaggerate the point. You know, that's when they think, okay, well, we'll leave her to it until she's actually prepared to actually, you know, do some of what we're asking her to do, okay? So being physically fit, in all seriousness, being mentally fit, and being spiritually and emotionally fit. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, none of us are going to be at 10. None of us are going to be in complete optimum health. But it is definitely a time for us to start to look after ourselves a little bit more. Not just because it's a good thing to do and it's what we should be doing anyway, that's a given, but also because of the times that we are in. If you think about this analogy of being in a battle state, we are asked to be battle ready. And you don't go into battle in a sort of unkempt, dishevelled, unfit state. You go in prepared, okay? And so it's this thing about being prepared, being in fine fettle, basically, being tuned in the right way. So diet, exercise are definitely coming through very strongly going into next year, as well as keeping ourselves mentally as fit as we can as well. And that isn't just about mental health in terms of sadness, depression. You know, I think I've talked quite a lot about that in previous posts, and I certainly do on my Facebook page. It's also to do with keeping your mind active, you know, keeping your brain exercised. We live in a society, Metatron is saying, where we are all being a bit dumbed down, you know, by, I wanted to say powers that be, but that's not really true, because I wanted to talk about the fact that we give our powers away to these people anyway. But there is a lot of dumbing down in society, almost as though we can, if not careful, sink to the lowest common denominator. And whether that's being force-fed, you know, reality TV or any of the other lower vibrational energies that are out there, which might be fun once in a while, but if you just really sort of sit with it every day, it really lowers your energy. So being mentally fit is also about keeping your brain active, keeping it engaged, doing things that actually help with that, whether it's Sudoku, whether it's crosswords, whether it is even things such as going for a walk, but not going on the normal route, because when you go on the normal route, your brain is actually on automatic pilot. It's not really taking in its surroundings. Even just going down one street that you don't normally go down, your brain fires up and it starts to make new neural connections in terms of what it's seeing and witnessing. So think about that also in terms of mental health as well. Obviously, everything that we do here on this channel with Metatron, with the angels, with colour therapy, is about trying to keep you well holistically. But it is very much a strong message that we've really got to get to grips with this. And it's not just because it's a good thing to do, it's to do with the general state of the world at the moment, which is that we need to be as well as we can be to be able to fight the battles that are going on within our own personal lives and collectively as well. Okay, I'm going to, I think in this session, do something I don't normally do, which is actually, I've got a more traditional tarot deck here. I have left the box upstairs, so I can't even remember what they're called. Apologies. Maybe I'll put that on a comment on the box below on YouTube. But I felt drawn to do a Celtic Cross reading where we look more at sort of past, present, future scenarios, just to get an idea of what's out there at the moment energetically. So we're going to do that. Before I sort of pull those cards, I wanted to talk about one thing though in particular that Metatron has really been talking to me about pretty much every day for the last couple of weeks, and he wanted me to talk to you about it. Something I've sat with myself for a little while, just integrating it with myself, and it's to do with what Metatron is calling the muddle that we've all got ourselves into as a consequence of having given our power away to others who tell us about the state of our world. Okay, now this obviously comes into politics, it comes into religion, it comes into any area of life that you can think about. There has been a trend over the last certainly 5 years in spiritual circles for people to just not want to read the newspapers, you know, to turn off the media. And in that way, it's almost as though, you know, if I'm not hearing and I'm not seeing, somehow I'm not affected by it. But the truth is you still are, because energy doesn't stop just because you turn off a radio station or you don't buy the Daily Mail or whatever it is that is your paper of choice. It doesn't work like that. The collective energy is something that is out there that we are all a part of and we all respond to, which is why when there is an awful happening in the world, even if you haven't read about it, you will know about it. Your body will know about it. You know, sensitive people, psychic people, empathic people, they know days before an earthquake happens that something is about to happen. They don't know it's going to be an earthquake. They don't know where it's going to be, but their whole body knows that something is brewing. So you can't switch yourself off from this disinformation that is out there, because it's created what Metatron is calling, it's like a soup which is really thick and gloopy, and it's full of disinformation. It's full of what they are now calling fake news. Fake news is basically news that has been made up by other people to support their own particular agenda, and there are many different agendas in our world. There always have been. There always has been a degree of fake news in our world. But now more than ever, it's becoming really, really exaggerated. And this is where Metatron comes in a bit like the tough father. It's a bit like a tough love energy sometimes, which is he's saying to all of us, including me, including all of us here, which is that in a way, this is your wake-up call. This is a consequence of you having given your power away to other people. And actually, I've got people here in my head. I've got the Murdochs of the world, and without wanting to personalize it, but the people who run the media, you know, these big media moguls, you've given your power away to particular bodies who then have an agenda. And it's time to take that back. But you're doing it wrong. You're taking it back in the wrong way. And the easiest way to see the wrong way to do it is on social media. And what is happening is it's almost we have to have a comical view of it, actually, sometimes. And we have to be able to laugh at ourselves as well, because you will have done this, and I have certainly done it as well, which is when you become aware of something that might be fake, maybe it's a fake story or it's something you just don't agree with, what then you tend to do is you then put a piece of information up, which is like, there, that's the answer instead. How do you know that that second piece of information isn't complete codswallop as well? You know, that's what Metatron's talking about in terms of this complete muddle, this complete thick soup that we're in, where we don't actually know anymore who is telling us the truth. Now, that, of course, is a problem, but we do have the solution, and the solution is here. The solution is in our own heart. The solution comes from when you receive a piece of information or news, and again, it doesn't have to be political, it could be a spiritual piece of news as well. You have to go within and start to learn. This is where Metatron wants to teach us. Learn to discern whether it feels right or whether it feels wrong. And a really good example of that was with regard to a lot of the fake news that came up around the American election. There was a lot of stuff that was coming out. It seemed to trigger a lot of it for whatever reason. And there were a lot of, not that I'm always online looking at these things, but it's just sometimes on social media, they keep coming up on your feed and you don't even want to see them, but they come up. And And there was a lot of information about, you know, supposedly satanic people, and I'm sure satanic people are in our world. Unfortunately, that's a whole different video which we can cover maybe another time, although I don't particularly like going into that sort of energy. But the point is that some people were pointing out to others in society saying this person is satanic. And I read it and I thought, okay, well, let's just look at that person in the eyes. Look at that person in the eyes. Do they feel that way to you or not? Well, they didn't. You know, that's the truth of it. Now, that's my truth. It doesn't have to be your truth. But that is what we have to get to. We have to get to the place where we read something. Does that resonate? Does that feel true to me? And then my truth might not be your truth. And actually to be okay with that. I don't have to force that onto anybody else. And if I am forcing my view onto anybody else, that is ego. It's complete and utter ego. So we need to let go of the ego, let the ego stop running the show. We need to become far more discerning about what we're reading, who we're listening to, where we are getting our information from. And in fact, Metatron is saying it shouldn't even be one source. It should be multiple sources where you start to make up your own mind, different perspectives, different angles. Stop being so blinkered and stop looking for things that just reconfirm what you already know. Because all that's going to do is confirm what you already know. It's not going to take you on in terms of the path to wisdom, which is about actually, that feels right. That actually makes quite a lot of sense. I've never thought about that in that shape before, but that feels right to me. I'm going to explore that. Where does that lead me? So that's one thing he wanted us all to start focusing on at the end of 2016, because I think it's going to be a huge theme all through 2017, and it can either drive us completely insane if we let it, or we can start to create some tools in terms of how to deal with it, okay? Because whether you're reading the news or not, you are still affected by the energies that are out there, okay? Right, let's now have a look at what is going on with you in this soup. Let's just actually, in all seriousness, the spray that helps with this is that one. I'll put that up to the light. Sorry, I've got glare here. Not much I can do about that. Lilac Light, it's called, and it says for guidance and insight. So I'm just going to put that around me. And also maybe you would just like to imagine the lilac light coming down around you. And as it comes down around you, it's actually helping to transmute some of the energies that you have attracted into yourself through listening to the wrong source, being swayed by gossip or opinion, including popular opinion. Just because something is popular doesn't mean it is right. Starting to be able to make your own mind up, and you listen to your heart to enable that. And of course that skill serves you very well in your personal life as well. Okay, let's do this reading then. I'm going to just show you the cards as I pull them, and then I'm going to have to be looking down on here. I don't have a camera that can show you the cards and myself at the same time. Something I need to look at in 2017, new cameras and things. Okay, I'm just going to pull them as they come. The Fool in the centre, crossed by the Ten of Cups. Underneath those two is the High Priestess, the Eight of Pentacles, crowning. In the past position, the Devil. That's a good place to have that card actually, in the past. And then we have the Sun, the Ace of Wands, the Hierophant, the Teacher, and the last one, the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, now those of you that followed me for a while know that I sort of do my readings slightly unconventionally, so I don't refer necessarily to the traditional meanings of the cards. So I hope you're not frustrated with me for that, but I just really use them as tools to enable me to channel through Archangel Metatron's words. So what we're going to look at here is what we've got in the central position for all of us. So this is from Winter Solstice going forward, probably for the next couple of months. We've got the Fool and we've got the Ten of Cups. Now, to me, the Fool is not us as the Fool. The Fool is the person who has decided to start a new journey. And that new journey is exciting. It's a new chapter. It is the wheel that is turning. And if you look at this image on this card, this woman here feels very, very free. She has the birds around her. She just has a feeling of huge expansion and freedom. But yet she feels quite grounded also. On which she stands feels quite solid. She has some animal totems there at her feet also helping her. And if you just feel into the energy of that card, it feels nice and light, expansive, and she feels ready. She feels motivated. She doesn't feel as though she's frightened about what is ahead of her. She's looking ahead of her. She is ready for the next stage of her life. She's ready for the new year. She's ready for whatever 2017 brings. Across that is the energy of the Ten of Cups. Now, the Ten of Cups to me is to do with home and family, okay? So this feels to me as though, and you can see there is a man and woman entwined with each other. And we've also got the symbolism of fish and water here. And of course, the cups are very much to do with the energy of emotions and water, but I'm also bringing in the home energy as well and family. So it feels as though this fresh start, the Fool, the new expansion that we are tuning into, comes particularly into the area of our home. And it may well be for some of you that you've been focusing very much on your spiritual path, in terms of yourself and your own development, which is what you should be doing. But what I always teach, particularly with the Metatron energy, is that when you invite Metatron, for example, into your life, an angelic, powerful energy, it can't not go into your home also. It has to by nature, because what are we saying all through this video? Energy knows no barrier. Energy goes where it needs to go. And so therefore, if there are changes that need to be made within your home, it feels as though the start of next year is a very positive time for you to make some new changes, whether that is, it could be anything. It could be redecorating the home. It could be about sorting out finances. It could be about coming together, making a home with somebody. It could be about just getting fresh new energy into the home. It could be a new person entering the home. But whatever it is feels quite positive. And that positivity comes on the back of having let go of this Devil card, okay? Now, everyone's always worried about the Devil card, but really the Devil card represents our lower emotions. You know, it's us when we're in a lower vibrational state. And it's also when we are allowing that lower vibrational state to dictate our mood, our thoughts, and our behavior and our actions. And the fact that this is in the past position is really good. If I put the card up to the screen, I don't know if you can see there. Sorry, excuse my horrible nails again. They're healing very slowly. You can see there she's really curled up, okay? She's curled up in a ball. She's not able to see anything. She's not able to hear anything. She's completely closed off to the world. And this lower vibrational energy effectively has her in its grasp. Now, this isn't evil per se. It's not the devil per se. These are old expressions. This is to do with lower energy. It's to do with your own thoughts. And fundamentally, it's about fear. It's your own fear that has been controlling the show for too long. And maybe for some of you, it's been controlling the show all the way through 2016. Also, I want to say this feels collective as well. You know, all the thing we've just been talking about in terms of lower, heavier energy, particularly for the last 6 months of 2016. You know, we've all been a bit like that. We've all been a bit bit shell-shocked and just wanting to actually hibernate. And it's like, let's just try and forget what's going out in the wider world, and let's just try and focus in on, you know, ourselves and our own families. But you can't stay in that hunched up position forever. And if you compare that hunched up position with this one, which is all about expansion, and, you know, that feeling of, oh, you know, it's the total opposite of that. So I like that. I like that energy going into the start of next year. Underneath it all, we've got the High Priestess. So this is one of the most spiritual cards in the whole pack. This is the person who is in touch with their higher intellect, in touch with their higher self. It's the complete opposite of it's the complete opposite of the devil energy. It's the total opposite of that. So it's as though we have been, I feel actually, as we go through Christmas and into New Year, and I know it's been very difficult run up for some people, it feels as though we are really being asked to throw off some very old, I'm hearing the word chains. They're almost like slavery chains, but they are slavery chains not necessarily in terms of past life energy that we're carrying. They are to do with chains that we have put on ourselves. Sometimes other people might have put them onto us, but a lot of it we've chained ourselves up. And it's all been to do with the fact we have been incapacitated and haven't been able to move forward through total fear. And it's because that the lower self has had the upper hand. That's what's happened. The lower self has had the upper hand. But its days are over. The High Priestess energy is coming in, and that's really, really good. I still feel, and of course the High Priestess energy is the one, is the energy which talks about, you know, you'll just instinctively know. You'll be able to get in touch with your own innate wisdom to guide you. I like the fact that there's an owl underneath this figure, and the owl represents being able to see in the dark as well. So it's not saying everything is completely rosy, but it's like you'll be given the light that you need to see through the darkness, to go through dark times, if challenging times, if they're still there, but you'll be okay. I feel one area maybe where things maybe are still a little bit sticky for some people is actually in the area of money and finance. And that's not wishing to dream that in, because I believe the universe to be an abundant place for all of us. But I'm just looking there at the spider stuck in the middle of that web, you know. And actually it's a very big web that it's created. What to say about this card? And it's number 8, and of course 8 is about abundance actually. So I don't want to dwell on that too long, because we live in a time of instant manifestation, and if you start talking about poverty consciousness, you can pull it in quite easily. So I think what we want to do with this instead is to start to realize that we can, the web that this spider has created here is also to do with connections and networking and helping each other. The word for 2017 is collaboration in particular. You know, none of us can do it on our own. We need to collaborate with others to bring us the abundance, and whatever abundance means, it means many, many different things. But I do feel as though maybe there's still a little bit of sticky energy, that's what I want to say, with regard to finances. And that might just be the January energy where, you know, we've all overspent sometimes in December. You get your bills coming in January and you think, oh dear, I've maybe spent a little bit more than I needed to, rather than actually really drawing in, you know, the drawstrings and saving and conserving. It's remembering, like that spider, that actually you can, again, you can create abundance. You can create a beautiful web of support, of resource around you, that can be very beneficial. The other cards we've got here, and I'm not going to read them in their traditional positions in terms of what each of the 4 represent. I'm going to read them as a whole. We've got the energy of the sun, we've got the Ace of Wands, got the Hierophant, and we've got the Knight of Pentacles. I'll deal with the Knight of Pentacles separately. The Sun and the Ace of Wands, to me, are just backing up the energy of the Fool, which is just that we are, I'm feeling we're going to be feeling stronger within our solar plexus energy. I'm wondering whether there is going to be a real burst of sun energy coming in actually to our planet. And obviously I'm making this, it's pitch black outside, it's the shortest day tomorrow, so I'm not going to be bathing in wonderful sunshine, but it's to do with pulses from the sun. It's solar flares, it's energy that's coming in from the sun and from the galactic center to help put us back more into our I am presence. The Ace of Wands feels as though it's project driven as well. It feels as though it's time to actually stake your claim in terms of what it is you want to do next year, who you want around you, whose team you're on, you know, who's on your side, who's not on your side. And I say that just because of the energy of this picture. And we've got three foxes there, and they've just put their wand into the ground, and they are sort of around that, protecting that, quite comfortable being around it. And the fox energy is interesting, isn't it? I feel they're a very misunderstood animal a lot of the time. Foxes are, you know, they tend to be, although you often see them in terms of, they're often solitary when you see them. Of course, they are in packs as well. They're pack animals, and they're clever. You know, they're clever. So there's a thing about using your brain a little bit as well, using your intellect. You've got to use your heart and your intellect in the next couple of months. But I love that sunny, bright energy. Again, we've got the sun energy here as well. It's glorious. It's fantastic. We've got, this is interesting. We've got the Hierophant here, and we've got the High Priestess. So you've actually got the divine male and the divine female within this reading. This is, for me, asking again for us to balance our male and female sides. Very, very important. We need to be learning how to nurture ourselves and look after ourselves, and we also need to learn how to get out there and do it. Okay, the male energy being really strong as well. Needs to be also feeling as though there's a lot of support at the moment for all of us, male guides, male masters, female guides, female ascended masters coming in. I'm hearing in their thousands to help us actually at a time when we really need them. The Knight of Pentacles, the night energy tends to be a more youthful energy, and I don't think this is necessarily about somebody youthful coming into your life or anything like that. I'm tuning into this card more in terms of whatever age you are, being able to tune in to that spirit of youth, you know, which you have in your 20s, where you do think excuse me, that you can take on the world, that you do think you've got all the time in the world, that it almost doesn't matter if you make a mistake because you can do it again next year. There is this impulsiveness about youth, and this belief that, you know, you're a bit immortal and you can just carry on. And I feel it's more about that sort of energy. It's asking us all to be to get in touch with our youthfulness. And when you work with light energy, which is what we're doing when we're working with Archangel Metatron and all the angels and all colours, they tend to keep us feeling younger and looking younger as well. And it's to do really with the fact that our souls, even if we're old souls, I'm quite an old soul, but even if we are an old soul, our soul still knows how to be youthful and to create the vibrancy and the energy and that sense of joyful playfulness when it needs to. So more than anything, I'm picking up that energy is going to be very important for us in the next couple of months. And I'm just wondering, for those of you that are thinking, well, that all sounds well and good, but it's really not how I feel. Let's ask Archangel Metatron, what's the support energy for that? Justice card. Okay, so the Justice card is about weighing things up. It's about letting go of, well, it's justice. It's the scales. I need one more to go with that. What is that? The Five of Cups. Okay. The Ace of Pentacles. Let's put those together. I just want to tune into this for one moment, see what we get, what we are getting. So we were talking about the need for this youthful energy. Yeah. Okay. Metatron's talking here about, he's also using the word passion. And he means passion outside of sex and love. He's talking about when you are passionate about something, or even when you're passionate about somebody, there is an energy that goes with that. And it's beautiful. It's amazing. You know, it's when you're fired up and when you're passionate about something or somebody, you can see it in somebody's eyes. You can hear it in the way they talk. You can feel it in their energy. And it definitely isn't a solid, heavy, old energy. It's a youthful, buzzing energy. It's a buzzing energy. And so these scales, this Justice card to me, is about letting go of what you're not passionate about and starting to tip the scales more in favour of what you are passionate about. And if you're watching this thinking, I don't know what I'm passionate about, when was the last time I got fired up about something or somebody? Start to explore that. Remember what Metatron was saying earlier about being the explorer, being more of an adventurer. And actually, this youthful energy here of the Knight of Pentacles, it is what I was talking about. You know, his whole energy sort of sitting on top of this. I don't know what it's supposed to be, whether it's a dragon or I don't know what it is, but anyway, it doesn't matter what it is. The point is that there's a playfulness in the energy here. You know, he's sitting astride it, but it all looks a bit precarious. He's not strapped in. He hasn't got a seatbelt on. It's all just sort of like, whoa, you know, where are we going with this? And quite excited in terms of wherever that leads us. That's the energy that we need for the start of next year. And we have to get into that state as soon as we can. And this is the thing about getting ourselves mentally ready, getting ourselves physically ready. You can still have fun over Christmas. No one's trying to strip away the fun and the joy and the food. And if you want to have a drink, have a drink. But in the back of your mind, it's as though start to do a little bit of planning almost in terms of how am I going to get myself into this energetic state, which needs to be light and high, to be able to take full advantage of the positive energies that are there for us next year, but also to be able to clear a pathway through this soup, through this thickness, through this denseness, through this darkness that is out there at the moment. So it is in the youthful energy. And I know my dog is about to start barking. I just heard her. And she's reminding me actually of it, because actually she's a great way for me to, there she goes, to get into that energy, because anybody that's watching this that has a puppy or has a young child or has a young kitten knows exactly what I'm talking about. You can't be all sort of like this when you've got them. You've got to get on with it. You've got to get out in the rain. And even if you don't want to get out in the rain, you get out in the rain. You think, actually, this is great. Hey, I love being in the rain. That's the energy we need to get into. Okay. Right. I'm going to pull one more card then. And I think I'm going to make this specific. I'm going to do three. I'm going to do one that is for solstice, one that's for Christmas Day, and one that's for New Year's Day. Let's just see what we get. So one that is for tomorrow, winter solstice. Temperance, balance, review, pause, reflection. Rather than having the weight of the world on her shoulders, can you see she's got the world sitting actually with a positive flowing energy into her, all the support that the world can give her flowing into her solar plexus energy. Temperance is about balance, measurement, pausing and reflection. So that's the energy for solstice, the energy for Christmas Day. The energy for Christmas Day. The Hermit. Forget the fact that the shops are still open on Christmas Day. Forget the fact that the online shops are now operating on Christmas Day. Forget all the hype and the ridiculousness about Christmas Day. Go within. The Hermit is actually the one who switches off the phone, closes the front door, and enjoys their own company. Now, you're probably not going to be able to do that on Christmas Day because most people are usually with friends or family. But even if you are surrounded by other people, it's about creating some space for yourself on Christmas Day, whether it's first thing in the morning, last thing at night, some point during that day. Again, it's a bit like the energy for solstice, needing a slight pause and review and reflection energy. I'm also hearing, and again, this might not be possible for everybody. My ears are really going, so I know this is a really important message. Allow into your home those that are of the right vibration for you on that day. That's a difficult one, I know, because social pressure and, you're supposed to invite, great auntie, whatever, and all the rest of it. But in all seriousness, Christmas Day is a special day. Whether you're a Christian or not, doesn't matter. It's still a time for celebration. And have around you, if you can, those people who are as positive as possible. If that is not the case, remember to shield yourself, protect yourself from any lower energy. And you do that by asking Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron to do that for you. And actually both of those are major Arcana cards, the Temperance card for solstice and the Hermit card for Christmas Day. Right, let's see for New Year's Eve. We'll do the ending of the last year and then we'll go into the next year. Christmas Eve. Not Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve. The energy of New Year's Eve. The energy of New Year's Eve, 2016. The Magician. Nice. Another major Arcana card. Number 1. I'm hearing the chimes of midnight. And it's almost on the chimes of midnight. You become the magician. You become the alchemist in your own life. It's really nice. Let's have one for New Year's Day. New Year's Day 2017. New Year's Day 2017. Strength. Nice. Well, I mean, actually, that's amazing. I think you could see that I was doing that live, so that was not, I haven't tricked anybody here. We've got 4 major Arcana cards for those 4 dates, so they're all as important as each other. Temperance for tomorrow, Winter Solstice. The Hermit for Christmas Day. Also feel like that person is balancing a lot of things. Although she is sort of standing on top of that, it doesn't feel quite as solid as the other thing that the person was treading on. But she's carrying her lantern, she's carrying her light. So even though it may be a little bit wobbly and you might be having to pander to all sorts of different people and energies, she's okay. She's got her light, and that light of the world, of course, the Christ energy coming in, illuminating the whole upper space. New Year's Eve, as we let go of 2016, we have the energy of the Magician. I also feel that Magician energy is there to help us let go of any of the trauma, grief, negativity, bad experiences of the previous year. Okay, so it's almost as though, can we try to really let go of anything that has bothered us in 2016, so that we can enter the new year clear. And it feels as though there are many different tools that we all have here to support that. Many different tools, many different energies. And again, this person now feels on much more solid ground here as well. And then for New Year's Day, fantastic. I love that card, Strength. And it is the energy of, just wait for the camera to come into focus so you can see that, the lion. You can see, okay, we've got the lion energy. So lions are all about courage, and that lion looks pretty fierce actually, and that's a protector. That's definitely a protection energy for all of us as well. You've got the birds, you've got the element of air, again you've got expansion, you've got this sort of big chalice down here, sorry, there, chalice, opening up to blessings and gifts, but it's the card of strength. You'll be given the strength that you need for the beginning of next year. So I hope that helped you. I hope you have a good solstice. I hope you have a good run up to Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and into New Year's Day as well. Keep the faith, everybody. Remember what Metatron said, please, about trying to make a plan so that we can get ourselves into optimum health. And it's not perfect health. None of us are asked to be perfect. We all are imperfect, but just whatever state we are in at the moment, it's as though he's saying up your game a little bit in terms of looking after yourself, getting yourself prepared and ready for next year, letting go of what no longer serves you, and being very mindful, as I say, of this whole thing. He was talking about the fake news and information overload. The final image he's showing me actually is of us. It's almost as though we are almost like buried in this great big mound of rubbish, you know, and the rubbish is information that's coming in from here, there and everywhere, and a lot of it is fake, a lot of it isn't even true, and but within that pile is us, and actually what we have within ourselves is a glittering diamond heart and a golden center where all the truth and all the wisdom actually resides. So take back your power, okay? Don't let other people take it away from you. Much love for now, everybody. I'm going to upload this video, so hopefully you watch it tomorrow on Solstice Day. Much love. Bye-bye.